Oh my Lord. Okay. So that's the only one getting me?
That one and this one.
Cool. Awesome. So wait.
Speaking of which, we're live. Thank you so much for joining us today, Marcus. We are live in Metro Adelaide in an undisclosed, for obvious reason, location, somewhere in the sub-Sahara, I think, with all of these beautiful plants. Welcome, Marcus. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Markus HAMENCE, thank you so much. Got tongue-tied. We were talking about that before, just a minute ago, weren't we?
We were. Thank you so much for having me, David. And I like to consider it my little Bali, let's be honest. It's my little Bali away from Bali.
Have you actually been to Bali?
I have been to Bali a lot, actually, a real lot. So this place is very much inspired by my love of Bali, which comes with a whole lot more high maintenance work than a trip to Bali.
I can only imagine.
Oh,
so how many plants have you got, just roughly?
Well, I've actually started to downsize a little, I'm going to tell the truth, but 621 was when I was at my worst, if we call it my worst. Some could say the best.
I was going to say your best.
Yeah, thank you. But yes, but now I'm probably edging now down towards probably about the 400 mark.
Just out of curiosity, how long does it take you to water and fertilize and, you know, properly maintain them?
Well, you know what, it does come with a bit of time involved, but it usually takes me about an hour and a half on a Saturday. But for me, I find if you enjoy doing something, it's not work. You know, of course, that old cliche, but it's so true. For me, looking after the plants, it's almost my little meditation. You know, I chuck on a bit of Nina Simone on vinyl, and, you know, light some candles and water the plants, fertilize the plants. It's peace, it's tranquility for me.
There's nothing like living entities. Like, they basically breathe out oxygen, they breathe in carbon dioxide. They're just absolutely brilliant. When I was a kid, when I was a really young kid, I had 15 or 16 plants. Now, unfortunately, my mom destroyed that for me because what she did is she made me look after all the plants.
Oh my God, so how many have you got?
I have 0 now.
Oh, you got 0?
Yeah, she completely,
No.
I don't mean to disrespect her or dishonor her, but yeah, the love and the joy and the affinity for plants is well and truly gone now.
Oh no. Well, that's okay. You should have to come around and visit me here. It's like coming to visit the Botanic Gardens, David.
It's awesome in here. Now, I'm having trouble in, what's the right word I'm looking for? I'm having trouble in identifying who you are because you're an entrepreneur. Let me be clear. You're an entrepreneur. I don't know whether to say that you're an entertainer. I don't know whether a promoter. I don't know whether to say that you... How do you describe yourself? Are you related to Elon Musk by any chance?
You're funny. You know what? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I've always... I don't know. I like to think of myself as a creative individual. I think everyone should find something creative they can enjoy in their life because I think being creative is one of the joys in life that we're actually put on earth to do. And I don't mind if you like to knit or crochet or you like to garden or you like to paint or cook. Whatever it is, or play music, be creative because it is absolutely the joy of life and it makes that blood pump. So for me, I was always, as a younger boy, I was always drawing and illustrating, cartooning, all that kind of stuff that developed into painting. And then I even had a stint as a makeup artist for a while because I enjoyed the process of actually painting someone's face, you know? So all very theatrical makeup. But then, and then that got me into, you know, doing a bit more theatre kind of work. Once I started doing makeup for theatre, I started doing theatre work. And, you know, that's when I started a bit of acting and, you know, the performing side of me came out then. And, you know, learning how to express myself through, you know, words and physical kind of movement.
Marcus, let's go back to the beginning. Okay,
the beginning.
So what I mean by that is that you weren't born doing 700,000 different things. So when did it all start? When did this obsession with doing as much as you can in as many places as you can, doing as many things as you can, was it high school?
Well, when I was younger, I was extremely shy. I didn't know where I belonged. I didn't fit in, you know, because when I grew up, we're not going to give away all my ages. All my ages.
I've
only got one age, actually. I live many, many lives all at once. There's a young me, there's an older me. I'm not going to give away everything. No, when I was a younger boy, I'm not going to give away my age, but when I was a younger boy, I grew up in a school, it was Banksia Park International High School, actually, and all the boys there typically, like to, talk about cars, date song with girls, and play sport, all that kind of stuff, which I was not into any of those. In fact, my best friends were girls. I wanted to hang out with them, not necessarily kiss them, or I think the word was pash them back then. So anyways, I was very lost as a child, and very much lost myself in my own head, and trying to find my way. And what actually helped me find my way was music. And once I opened up myself to the world of music, I started to discover and find out who I was, which was such an exciting time for me. And I had this creative energy flow through me that it all kind of started with that, really. And then it just hasn't stopped. But also, I think at that time, because I was so shy for such a long, to answer the question more directly, I think because I was shy for such a long time and very extremely withdrawn, really quite, what's that word called, where you're quite kind of a quiet person?
Introverted?
Introverted, that's the word. When I was really quite an introvert as a child, for many years, probably until I was about maybe 13, 14, maybe 15, 16, something like that. So I felt like I had a lot to catch up on. So, once I started to find my extrovert, and now he just doesn't want to go away. Now he's out to play, try putting that back in the box. But once I found that, I felt like I had a lot of catching up to do. So I was like, I'm going to jam as much in as I possibly can, with those 16 years that I may have missed. So yeah, here I am now.
Well, just out of curiosity, which music helped to bring you out of your shell? Was it all music? Was it jazz? Was it blues? Was it pop, rock, funk, disco, R&B? What was it?
David, oh my God, it's like you have primed me for this question. That is the easiest answer I've ever been able to give, ever. Culture Club. When Culture Club hit the airwaves in 1983, there you go, I've given away a bit of my age now. 1983, Culture Club came out with Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? And I remember watching the video clip for that. And I actually, to be honest, for the first 6 months, I actually thought Boy George was a girl. I thought it was just a bit of name trickery. I was like, I see what she's doing. She's just calling her boy, well before her time, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it wasn't until about 6 months later, it's like, oh my God, it's actually a guy, which was so cool. And I was like, finally, I started to feel like I really fitted in. And it's like, I see where I can actually belong in the world now. Not that I went out and got dreads at that point in time and started wearing makeup or anything like that, but I felt that not all guys spoke about sport or cars or going out on dates with girls. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, it just wasn't what I was doing. And Culture Club, Boy George at the time, showed me that, we're not all stereotypical in one direction, you know what I mean? And then obviously there was a huge plethora of artists, coming out in the 80s that really transformed my life big time, whether it be the Cyndi Laupers, whether it be the Madonnas, whether it be the Tina Turners even, showing, I was very aware of what she had gone through because, her interviews, and we've just lost her recently, which absolutely devastated me because she was one of my absolute idols. But I was very much aware that she'd come from a lot of abuse and being trodden down quite a lot. So to see her rise and do this massive big comeback in the 80s, which I was privy to, was such an inspiring, motivating experience.
Isn't it interesting that she ended up? Well, originally, she was a support act for her husband, Ike. Exactly. And then very quickly, she vastly surpassed her husband.
Totally.
And eclipsed him, probably is a better way of putting it.
Yeah. I mean, that voice, to hear that voice, I connected with that voice. I connected with the voice and the hair. Careful what you wish for, David.
I can't talk about that. I'm having the recession that I had to have. I'm also an 80s person, and you know, I'm looking at your record collection over there with Go West, and
I only just got that one the other day, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's a newbie, that one. But yeah, I love it.
When I came in, you were playing the soundtrack of my life. You were off working in your office, and I was setting up furiously and making sure all the I's were dotted and T's were crossed. You were playing the soundtrack of my life. So I can totally identify with what you're saying when it comes to music, because as I shared with you when we were off air, at 13 years old, all I would listen to and before was classical. Bach, Brahms, Beethoven, Chopin, Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff, etc., etc. And it was around 13 that I discovered other forms of music, and that's probably the largest influence was my sister. She got me into Gilbert and Sullivan. She got me into Simon and Garfunkel. She got me into all of these different forms of music. And at the end of the day, I can't imagine my life without music, so I can totally relate to what you said.
Music is everything, like seriously. And we were chatting before about, you know, our music love, but I will wake up in the morning, first thing I do is go straight to either my player there or to my iPad and chuck on some digital music. But there must always, and like even, you know, just before we started recording now, he said to me, okay, time for the music to be shut down, Marcus. It's like I literally have music on here all the time. All different types, whether it be, I listen to classical, I listen to opera, you know, I listen to, you know, heavier stuff, and my rock god is absolutely, hands down, Lenny Kravitz.
Why? Why?
Why? Because, well, I mean, have you seen him?
Don't get me wrong, I like Lenny Kravitz. I love his style, I love his rhythm, I love his, I love his music, full stop. But why do you like?
Yeah, well, look, his music is amazing. You know, his music is absolutely amazing. But I think what I'm most attracted to about him, he's a straight guy, but, you know, he's so diverse with what he wears. You know, he definitely wears, you know, that rock kind of clothing garb, which I'm very much attracted to. But he's very unisex in regards to the way he presents himself, whether it be his hair sometimes, or whether it be his clothing. You know, he's actually not... He's very exploratory with, you know, his fashion, which I find absolutely incredible.
I don't have a great fashion sense, but I wore this shirt basically because it was the most like your style that I had, and I wore these jeans as well. So there you go.
Well, I've got two ways of dressing which I really like. I think I've got the same personality both times, I think. But
well, hang on a second. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, I've got two different styles. So one style is this kind of grungy kind of street. Oh, cheers. Cheers to you.
Sorry, excuse me.
We should always cheers with a coffee. I've got no problem with that at all.
Oh, this is delicious. Thank you.
A Brazilian coffee, Nescafe. It's good. Yeah, so one is my kind of streety, kind of like 90s grungy kind of period look that I do, which is this. And the other one is a little bit more a glam rock kind of style. So it's a bit more, you know, a bit more dressy, obviously, which I have fun with. Like, I love dressing up. My clothing, my cupboards are totally jam-packed with clothing. I never throw anything out. I just blend it all differently. But yeah, getting dressed to step out that door is absolutely a thrill for me. I don't even go to the shops unless everything's on. Dress up. You know, I heard a really good quote. I mean, you would know this quote. Everyone's heard this quote before. But get up, dress up, show up. You know, if you've got the ability, David, it's a really good quote. And I actually try and live my life by that as much as I can.
Absolutely.
But, life is short. You know, we never know when our time is up. My thing is, if I've got the ability to get my head off that pillow, I'll keep on pointing over there because obviously that's my bedroom stuck through over there. But if I've got the ability to wake up and get my head off the pillow, I'm going to do it with all the love and gusto that I've actually got. And, you know, live each day to the absolute max. Because if we sit and complain about our life, whinge and moan and groan, there's a million people that are dead that would much rather take our place. So
I love what you just said.
Don't ever put yourself in that situation where someone else would be like, you know what, Marcus, get out of here then. I'll take your place because I'd much rather do it. You know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean. One of my favorite sayings is first world problems.
Yep.
When I look at my life, using me as an example, I have a roof over my head, I have food in my stomach, I have clothes on my body, I have luxuries like a nice watch, and et cetera, et cetera. And look, what have I really got to complain about? Now, obviously, everybody has bad days.
Of course.
Everybody has cause to complain from time to time, but I try to make sure that I always keep in perspective that my problems are first world problems.
Absolutely. But you know what? The way we look at our so-called problems is in the eye of the beholder. No, not much unlike art and design, really. But you know, we all get. An example, for example, is we all get electricity bills, right?
Yeah.
And at the moment, mine is through the roof because I'm always blasting that air conditioner because it's so freaking cold at the moment. So that air conditioner's on repeatedly. So it's a nice hefty electricity bill I get every 3 months.
And it just went up by 30%.
I know, it's crazy. I'm going to have to get another job. Thanks. I need to pay for my lifestyle. But my point is that, you know, getting that electricity bill in the letterbox, before some people even open it, it's like, ugh, great, another bill. Whereas I try my hardest to look at that envelope that comes in with electricity or ETS or whatever it's called, AGL.
AGL or Origin,
at the
probably.
top, AGL, yes. It's about being thankful that you've got the ability to have electricity. You know, there's some countries that don't have electricity. There's some people that, you know, don't have the luxuries of what we do. So if we have got the ability to have electricity and pay for it, hopefully, then, you know, be grateful. You know, so someone's problem is somebody else's thing to be grateful for. You know what I mean?
I do.
Again, like you say, everyone has a bad day every now and again, but be aware that, you know what, good or bad, it's just a judgment.
Yeah. Henry Ford is very famous for having said, whether you believe that you can or whether you believe that you can't, you're right.
Absolutely true. Yep, 100%.
All right. Now, just really quickly, I wanted to say we haven't really answered the question. The question was, when did you realize that you, what was your first career? What was your first thing? So we know about you getting out of being an introvert and being an extrovert, or at least beginning to become one, thanks to music, thanks to Boy George, and other greats like Pseudo Echo, I imagine, Go West, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, et cetera, et cetera.
Grace Jones.
Grace Jones. Oh my goodness. You have to bring her. You have to bring her. Okay, so when did you, what was your first job? What was your first career?
Graphic designer. So I took my love of illustration and whatnot and applied it to graphic design. I found that was the closest thing I could actually do in regards to art that I could actually get paid for, because obviously no one would just give you money to do cartoons all day, so I had to find a way.
Well, unless you work for Hanna-Barbera.
Well, you know, big dreams. So I applied myself to graphic design and studied that, and got an apprenticeship and a job with that, and I did that for a good while before I started to diverse off into other streams.
So I'm assuming, and we haven't touched on that yet, I'm assuming that means that when it comes to things like your posters, promos, and et cetera, you're the one who designs all of that?
I do all of it. So I do my website, I do my show posters, I do my business cards, I do my pull-up banners, I do all of it, which is great.
So what made you decide to no longer be or did you keep that in the background while you launched number 2?
Yeah, I think once you do something, you always do it. So like, I still do graphic design. It's just not my job.
But not your 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. It was. Where did I go from that? I did graphic design. I was employed as a graphic designer for quite a while, and I was doing lots of things on the side. You know, I was doing makeup on the side. I was doing acting on the side. I was, you know, always doing lots of things on the side. But it wasn't until I studied interior design, which was in the mid-2000s, I think, from memory, late 2000s. I studied interior design, and a partner of mine at the time, we both decided, hey, you know what, let's do a furniture store. And we did. So my job as an employed graphic designer stopped. We created a furniture store, which allowed me to be an interior designer at the same time as well. So all of a sudden, my world evolved that way. And what happened with that store, it was a place called Lewis Bond on McGill Road, and it became quite famous. We had it for about 5 years, and it was very much before the relationship suffered. But it was actually, quite an icon of South Australia without, any ego at all. It was actually received really well because it was really quite unique. It was a very rock star kind of vibey kind of attitude behind it all. It was like furniture with an attitude. And it was extremely unique. So it got embraced by Adelaide really well and became quite a famous store. And with that, my partner and I started to become quite social with our personalities, and everything else kind of took off from there, really.
Well, wow. So you've got, okay, so when you say interior design, could you elaborate a little bit? Because I imagine that could mean different things to different people. I know from previous interviews that you've had that, that involves plants, because plants are a key part of your life. But did it involve other things? Did it involve, for example, did real estate companies come to you and say, we want you to dress this house?
Yeah, so my interior design really covered lots of different areas. I did real estate staging. I've done display home styling. I've done residential interior design. I've done commercial interior design. So it, but it even evolves into, event styling. All of a sudden, people were coming into our store, seeing how it was all set up. And all of a sudden we had brides and grooms saying, could you come and event style our wedding, or our 21st birthday for our child, or this and that and this and that. So
bar mitzvah?
Exactly, anything goes. And then with the event styling, all of a sudden, our execution of that, hopefully, I think, it was a progression that showed our organizational skills. So then we started doing a lot of event management as well. So to this day, I still do a lot of event management and event styling, etc., which is great. So it's just another extension of the interior design and the interior styling game, to be honest, And then the plant situation, I was never this obsessed in regards to collecting plants. I loved plants, but I had a decent normal amount. A normal amount, 3 or 4. But yeah, 300 or 400. Look, we've only got an hour, so I'm not going to get into it hugely. But I had a home invasion while I was living in Bali, and I put everything on social media. One of my friends on Facebook saw that I was away, broke into my home, lived here for 5 days while I was in Bali. I came
Marcus,
home.
I'm so sorry.
I'm fine. It was pretty shitty at the time, so I had to find a way to reinvigorate this place and reclaim it and put my energy back into it after I was violated. After my home was violated.
That's a very accurate descriptor, by the way. That's exactly how I felt probably 37, 38 years ago when my sanctum was violated.
Yeah.
There's no other word I know.
It's awful. That person slept in my bed, used my bathroom and my bathroom products, cooked in my kitchen. It was just crazy what went on. My neighbours saw him every day, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm just the house sitter." So no one thought anything other. He just came and went, used my car, used my clothes. It was insane what went on. Anyways, I had to do a massive cleansing. Best way for me to do that was to go with what I loved, which was Bali, and clean the energy with plants, essentially. So I just started adding in more and more and more, and reclaimed my space during the course of it.
You did a very good job. When I was coming into your home, just instantly, it felt like home. It didn't feel like a unit or a townhouse. It felt like home. So you've succeeded wildly.
Thank you, David.
You're very welcome. So please, now you've got an ongoing venture, which is home improvement, decoration, doing weddings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's still ongoing, is it not?
Yeah. And It's not. I mean, I don't have. I mean, I do. I teach at TAFE SA.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually teach interior design, so I would consider that my full-time job because that's pretty much the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So that was pretty much my full-time job, and then I try and squeeze in everything else around it, which is my plant business called the Botanic Designer, which is where I run around South Australia and do plant workshops. Mostly on the weekends, but sometimes on the weeknights, and I thoroughly love that. It's so much fun. I do it with adults. I've got children classes that I run, and everywhere from Port Augusta to Victor Harbour and everywhere in between. It's great. And then my show promotion stuff, which is Markus Presents, which is where I bring in a lot of shows and put them on in theatres, etc., whether it be music, etc., whatever.
Well, those are the three that are on your website.
Yep.
And so you're doing interior design. How did you graduate from that into bringing what I consider to be some of the world's greatest talent into Adelaide? That's a huge step. How did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? It was. It's been 3 years now, and a friend of mine at the time as well. You know, COVID happens. It literally happened at the end of Fringe, and we were like, wow, what are we going to do now? Because, you know, I love arts and entertainment. I live and breathe it. I love the whole Showtime kind of stuff. It's like, what are we going to do? So we came up with an idea of like, bringing in acts, and we were working together on it at the time, and we were just bringing in acts, and then all of a sudden the Regal Theatre up on Kensington Road, which is where pretty much 99% of my shows go to.
That's where we met as well.
They, yeah, exactly. They had actually been closed for about 2 years, I think, a year maybe, doing some massive renovations. Making it, you know, that traditional Art Deco style all over again.
It looks fantastic now, by the way.
Bloody amazing there, isn't it? I was not involved with the interior design for that at all.
Oh, that surprises me. I thought you were.
No. But what happens was they were about to do a great big opening relaunch party, and we approached them and said, can we do the opening weekends for you? So we brought in Rhonda Birchmore and Michael Griffiths, and we had 4 entertainers over the course of the 2 nights. 3 nights, sorry.
Well, hang on, Markus. Can I just ask you to drill down a little bit? How did you get these names? So you're doing interior design, you're doing plants, you're doing all these different things. How did you get these people to come to Adelaide?
Oh my goodness.
Is it through relationship? Is it through is it through your work with Scene TV?
Yes, exactly that. So back in that relationship that I had back when we had Lewis Bonds, we were on the verge of doing a lot of videography kind of stuff. Because I think
you just made up a word.
Videography?
It's videography.
Videography. I'm good at making shit up. I just swore. Oops, bleep that.
Good on you. That's the creative
Go
part
your own
coming
way,
out.
you know. So after that relationship finished, I still had this kind of burning desire to do video work. So I created Scene TV.
Wait, you created Scene TV?
Yes, so that was my baby.
Please, tell me how that came about.
My relationship had broken up, and literally, I went and lived with, before I moved in here, I went and lived with my mum and dad for about 6-7 months, and just started plotting out what I wanted my life to be after that relationship, which very much defined who I was for a period of time.
Relationships do that.
Yeah. And this one definitely did. So I was like, you know what? I really want to get into video interviews and all that kind of stuff because of my love of arts and entertainment. And then started making all these connections. And, you know, so I interviewed people like Rhonda Birchmore and Danny Minogue and Melissa Krautz and Jim Moen, all these names that I just grew up with, you know.
And that was through the Fringe?
And that was just through reaching out to people. So I was always out and about. I was always going to Fringe shows, and I was always, you know, so, and I like to meet people, so I never take a back step. I was always kind of, hey, how are you? I love the show. It was really cool, blah, 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 blah. So I'd always try and make friends with people. And so I had those connections. So by the time, and so seeing TV was great, and I think that ran for about a couple of years before I decided to go down a different route.
Can I ask, why did you put it to bed? Why did you finish it? I mean, as you said, you had Mark Holden, you had Ann Wills, you had...
It was so much fun.
Just some of the most... I still can't believe that interview that I saw with you and Mark Holden where you told him that you were conceived through one of his songs. Did you see the expression on his face?
My mother... Oh my God, June.
Did she stop talking to you for a little while?
She had the biggest crush on Mark Holden, like big time. And I just remember growing up with Mum playing his records. I think he had 2 or 3 that she had. And she used to play that while doing the housework. And I just remember that so much.
I have to ask you, what was her reaction? You did this interview, you said those things. What was her reaction when you saw her immediately after she saw that and she saw you?
I think she's kind of used to me now. But there he goes again. Marcus doing his thing. I think they preferred me. Actually, no, they don't. I was going to say, I think they preferred me when I was quiet and unassuming.
I doubt it.
I've given them a run for their money now.
I doubt it.
No. Yeah, no. But no, they kind of just go with my flow, which is great.
So what made you decide to put it to bed? You did it for a few years.
I just I've realized
did you
now.
Stop enjoying it?
No. I loved it so much, but I just
you're
ran out
good
of
at it.
time.
Why don't you? Have you considered going back to it? You're very good at it.
Oh, thank you. That's kind. I still have dabbled, obviously, in that kind of area because I was doing the Sunday Mail column on your Marcus, and unfortunately that finished a couple of weeks ago due to the fact that News Corp have made some changes, etc. So they've done away with some of the sections of the Sunday Mail. But now I'm literally in the process of redefining the On Your Marcus brand on a website, which hopefully is going to be launching in about a week's time, which will include the interviews, etc., and all that kind of stuff. So it's coming back in a different format.
Sure. Just out of curiosity, I have favorites. I think we all do, if we're going to be really honest. Who was the favorite person that you interviewed and why?
Oh no, that would be really hard. I really enjoyed, I enjoy when you get a connection and you're sitting down with someone and they're just like your friends,
So you're thinking of Kate Ceberano because out of all of the interviews that I saw, that was the one where I felt like I thought you were going to get married.
I've interviewed her about 4 times now.
Oh,
very
I've only
first
seen
time
one.
I interviewed her, it went on for about 45 minutes. And I remember walking. She was here for the Cabaret Festival, I think it was.
Yes, that's.
And she was staying at the Intercon Hotel.
Yes.
I walked in her hotel room, and the first thing she did was like, "Would you like a coffee?" And she went into the kitchenette and made me a coffee. And I'm sitting on the couch, thinking, "Oh my God, Kate Ceberano, who I idolized as a child,
Same. I'm guilty
is
of the
now making me a coffee." I'm like, I should be making her a coffee.
Surreal, isn't it?
It was incredible. And then she sat down and we just got along. Oh, my hair's all caught in the guitar.
Maybe it wants to play.
I know, we all do. Oh, sorry, camera. So I was just, we got along tremendously. It was so much fun. And we just chatted. Yeah, we made a really good connection. It was really wonderful. Ask me who I didn't enjoy.
Oh, okay. Well,
I will drop names, don't you worry.
All right. Because you've asked, I'm going to do it. I was not going to because that is politically incorrect in the 2023s. But let's go for it. Let's get PC incorrect. Who was the worst interview?
I believe we should always tell the truth.
Oh, I agree.
Well, this wasn't so much an interview, but my least favorite human that I've ever had to deal with.
Please don't say me.
No, it was Idina Menzel.
I don't know that name.
You will know her. She sung "Let It Go," Let It Snow, Let It Go. From Frozen.
Oh, right,
Let
right.
It Go.
Oh,
Is
wow.
it Let It Go? Yeah, Let
Yes,
It Go.
yeah.
So Idina Menzel, she was also in the TV show Glee. She's been around.
My wife would know that one. She loves shows like that.
I think she was in Rent as well. No, she was in Wizard. No, what's it called? Wicked. She was in Wicked.
Okay,
all
what
that
was the
stuff.
problem? What?
She was a total diva, 100% diva. Turns out afterwards, I found out that she was going through a marriage breakdown, but she brought the attitude onto the. I was actually doing her makeup at the time, but we're having a conversation and all that kind of stuff. It went all kinds of wrong. That's another interview for another day. Let's do another interview another time about all my bad experiences, and I'll name drop. Don't you worry about that.
We'll get right down into the muck. Is that what you're saying?
She just wasn't a very nice human at that point in time.
Right. Well, I think most people, if they're going through a marriage breakup, I think we need to take a little bit of grace, perhaps.
Yeah, no. Because, David, if I'd had a bad day today, for whatever reason, and I haven't, I've had a good day today, but if I had you don't want to have me sitting here going, wah, 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 and I got an electricity bill, and somebody cut me off in the traffic, and this happened, and my cat died. You'd be like, yeah, Marcus, you're so much fun.
But hang on a second. There's a big difference between I got an electricity bill, my cat died, my dog ate my homework, et cetera, et cetera. There's a big difference between that and my spouse is leaving me.
Have time off. Don't do the shows.
Yeah, no. Okay, you've got me there. I agree 100%.
Stay home,
100%.
heal yourself. Don't go out there and try and make millions of dollars, because that's what you're getting paid for. Probably not $1 million, let's be honest. But, if you're having a bad time...
A lot more than me,
don't do
that's
public.
for sure.
Yeah. Stay home and heal.
Yeah.
Go and have a little trip in Bali.
I'll
Recenter
give you
yourself.
I'll give you that one.
Because people need to give a little bit more kindness, I believe. So yes, there's that. Oh my gosh, that made me think of something else I was going to tell you, but now I can't remember. But yeah, anyways, ask away. I forgot what I was up to.
That's the problem with fun people, is that it's so easy to get sidetracked, and you just start off going this way, and then the next thing you realize you're going that way, and then that way, and then pretty soon you don't even remember whether you're Arthur or Martha or coming or going. Isn't that true?
I go on so many tangents. I go on so many tangents, and then that tangent leads to that tangent, and then I'm like, remind me where I was, and it's so hard to retrace and come back to my actual point that I was trying to make. Long gone.
Now, you've made it crystal clear that you get so much joy out of so many different things. You get joy out of music. You get joy out of interior design. You get joy out of your beautiful plants. You get joy out of so many different things. What gives you the most joy?
Plants. Yeah. No, all of it. Plants and music. Yeah, plants and music. Being in a space that most reflects you is my thing. Feeling like I'm being authentic.
Can you elaborate, please?
Yeah, totally. Being in a comfortable space where I feel like it's reflecting me. What brings me the most joy is being at one in a situation. If I'm in a space that's making me feel anxious or annoyed or, jittery or whatever, then that's not going to give me the joy. When I'm in a moment where sitting down with you right now, I'm having fun. This is bringing me the joy. If you leave and then all of a sudden I start spending time watering my garden plants, I'm in a happy space. So as long as I'm feeling happy and really content and in a vibe, in a good positive vibe, everything's okay. I don't care what it is.
Tell me about your background when it comes to bringing in amazing talent. Who's the favorite? When you've brought somebody in, like, is it, for example, Wendy Matthews? Is it Grace Knight? Is it Anthony CALEA? Who's your favorite and why? You
know what? I've got a lot of favorites and a lot of stories. which we don't have time for. But I'm going to tell you one story because this one really meant something special to me.
Please.
But I grew up idolizing The Voice. I felt like she was the Australian version of Tina Turner, and that is Renee Geyer, who we obviously lost, only, was it this year or last year? This year's gone too fast. No, it was this year.
Was it? Oh, sorry.
No, it was this year. Oh my goodness, this year's been a blur.
It's all gone so quick,
It's July already, I don't know. I still feel like it's February.
Really?
So forgive me, I can't remember if it was last year or this year now. But Renee Geyer, I just loved her voice. It was like deep and so meaningful, and she had so much grunt. And she reminded, oh my goodness. She reminded me of Tina Turner, and that's what I was attracted to when I first heard her voice. Anyways, fast forward many, many albums and many years, to the point of doing these shows, and I was like, I need to get Renee Geyer in Adelaide, and I had so many people telling me, don't do it. She's really difficult to work with. She's a difficult woman. There was a song written by Paul Kelly called "Difficult Woman" for and about Renee Geyer.
Really, I didn't know that that was the meaning behind that song.
Yeah, "Difficult Woman" was written by Paul Kelly to Renee Geyer and about Renee Geyer for her to sing about herself being a difficult woman.
Wow.
She ended up falling in love with the song. She told me the story about it. That's another story again. But anyways, everyone said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. She's a bitch. Can I say bitch? Too late. But horrible, you'll regret it. Not just one person, so many people and so many artists that I've just been working with over the course of the last year also warns me about working with her as well, because they've worked with her. So I was like, oh my God, I love her, I'm just going to do it. Anyway, reached out to the management, hooked it all up, did it. She came over and we got along like best friends. We sat on a couch together. The first night we did it up at the Pepper Tree Cafe in Aldinga, which is now closed, I think, sadly. But we sold it out in a flash. We sold out the Regal Theatre, which was the night after, in a flash. But we sat down at the Pepper Tree Cafe on a couch before the show, and we just got along like a house on fire. And she told me things that was just like, wow, and we just got along amazingly. She said one of her dreams, which she never got to fulfill, was be a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race Australia. That was one of her big dreams to do before she passed away. Which never happened, which would have been great. So she loved the drag queens. We got along tremendously. So thing is, and I'm sure she's been a mole and a bitch and all this kind of stuff to certain people over her time. But I mean, look, you know what? You ask enough people, some people are going to say some nasty things about me as well that I might have done.
I guarantee they're going to say nasty things about me. I guarantee it. The
So-
reality is you can't, what was it? It was P.T. Barnum that said you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool them, you can't fool all of them, that's right, all of the time, which translates basically to what we're saying, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what? Just because somebody might say, oh, David, you don't want to work with him, he can, blah, 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 whatever. I'll be like, you know what? I hear you. Maybe it's you two personalities aren't connecting very well. Let me talk to David, meet with David, and I'll make my assumption. I think that's the fair thing to do. Always listen to what people say, maybe, and that's okay. But I won't call you a bitch because that person was calling you a bitch. I will make my decision on you being a bitch based on my interaction with you. Turns out you're a nice guy, so pretty cool. Not that anyone said anything bad about you.
No, I paid you to say
point?
that. How much do I owe you again?
A lot. Or just doing my housework, or water my plants for one weekend. That'll be fine. It'll be square. But do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't listen to the stories. Make your own assumption. It's like if you're going to believe in something, whether it be the Bible, whether it be, whatever. If you're going to believe something, do your research and understand why you believe that. Don't just say, you subscribe to something because someone's told you to subscribe to it. Do your research and understand. I've always said that. If you're going to love something, I just love that. It's like, well, why do you love it? Tell me why you love it. It's like, I don't know. I just do. That's not good enough for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, give me the reasons why you love it. And I say that to my interior design students. It's like, why have you put a tan couch there? And they're like, oh, no, I thought it just looked okay. It's like, no, that's not good enough. Tell me why the tan couch is there. Tell me why you chose tan over black. Tell me why.
Or why.
Justify
any other
everything.
Color. Yeah.
I believe you have to justify everything. If you're going to be as strong and bold enough to say you hate something, tell me why you hate it.
Well, I agree 100%.
You know, give me the reasons. Justify everything you do and say and feel.
Marcus, where to next?
I really want to take my botanic designer stuff, my plant workshops around Australia now. That's what I want to do next year.
What would that look like?
I want to do plant tours essentially, so you know, do workshops for people in Sydney and Victoria and all that kind of stuff, because I love to travel and meet different people. And I've been doing plant workshops in Adelaide now for 3 years. And they're going to get sick of me. They're going to be like, Marcus again, blah, boring. So,
okay, but do you have the profile to go to Sydney and Melbourne and Brisbane? I know that you have a big profile here in SA.
No, but I'll make it up. I'll fake it till I make it. Go out there, be bold. But
I love your attitude.
No one knew, but no one knew me here in Adelaide originally either. You know, I just put myself out there and, you know, eventually, but so you work it, you hustle. You know, no one knows you until you hustle. No one.
You appear to have been staggeringly successful in so many different ventures. What advice do you have for people who haven't been staggeringly successful? What's your secret?
Go to the toilet before you sit down for an hour's interview on a podcast.
Is that your way of saying you've got to go?
When you gotta go, you gotta. If you see me crossing my legs too many times.
Oh,
you know,
my goodness, that's hilarious.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, no, what's my believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, and don't let anyone tell you no, because they will tell you no. I was told back when I was doing the interior design that, oh, you know what, don't waste your time. There's not enough work in Adelaide, you know. And, you know, I've been doing it now for 15 years and I'm still freaking busy. The cameras can't see, but we're overlooking, you know, out of these windows here, the cityscape. And there's apartment building after apartment building after apartment building getting built here. And half of those people that live in the, more than half of these people that are living in these apartments there have got no idea how to place their furniture. Someone's got to do the job, you know, someone's got to choose their colours. You know, you put yourself out there, put your brand out there, make sure you're top of their list. So when they're struggling, they know who to call.
So you're saying to identify a niche,
yep,
and then go for it. Is that effectively what you're saying?
Be good at what you do, you know, and find a way that you can offer it differently. And I say that, again, I keep on referring to my interior design students. We have a lot of people coming through the TAFE Interior Design and Decoration course. And there's a trillion interior designers. But what's going to make you, David, stand out from that interior designer or that interior designer? And you know what it is? Because you're going to be good at what you're doing, and they're going to be good at what they're doing, and they're going to be good at what you're doing. But your personality is what's going to set you apart. So you make sure that you've got an incredible personality. And you know, you're incredibly gracious and your greeting is great. And the way you present yourself is extremely unique as well. No point going out there wearing a brown t-shirt if every other interior designer is wearing a brown t-shirt as well. You wear a bright pink one, you know what I mean? And engage and look people, no matter what job it is, always look people in the eye, always be nice, always be kind, always be charming, and back it up with your incredible talent, no matter what you're doing.
That's some fantastic advice there, by the way.
I ramble.
Have you? Yeah, only on days that end with a Y, though. Just out of curiosity, there was a question I was going to ask, and it slipped my mind. I think it's old timers. That was meant to be funny. Okay, now you're just laughing at me.
No, I'm laughing at yeah, I'm not laughing with you, David.
I'm really curious. I know that you have Grace Knight coming back. I know that you have Rebecca O'Connor, who I've got tickets to, and I am so excited about that one.
God.
Because you told me yourself, and I've also independently confirmed this, that she's the person that Tina Turner said that she endorsed.
I know.
So that must mean that she's the hot diggity.
Oh my goodness.
Is that a fair
Yes.
statement?
And I need to tell you, because some people have been a little bit mean, but on social media, but this show went on sale back in January this year, well before Tina passed. And I was doing this show because I adore Rebecca O'Connor, what she does with Tina's music. And I've got so much great respect and admiration for Tina. Obviously Tina had retired from doing any kind of performing for a good, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago even, I think. 2009 was her last tour.
That long ago.
Totally said she retires, given it all up, done. So the only way for us to, experience her music live from this point onwards was going to be through these kind of artists, I don't consider Rebecca O'Connor a dress-up kind of mimicky artist. I think she does it with incredible grace and dignity as well. Other people may disagree, but that's okay. Each to their own. But so my point is, this was not something that was put on this Tina Turner show after Tina had passed away. It was put on well before, and I'm so looking forward to it. And it's been so supported by so many people. It's going to be, a really awesome celebration of, my love of Tina Turner and hopefully everyone else's love of Tina Turner.
So are you saying that Rebecca has her own inimitable style? She's not a copy, she's not a clone, but she basically embodies the spirit of Tina. Is that a reasonable assessment?
I would say so. And I heard her say in some interview a little bit ago that she always loved performing. She was always a performer, always loved her music and singing, but she never felt so comfortable as what she did when she started performing the Tina Turner songs, which is just so vast. So I think she does it in her way, but in a bit of a, that beautiful signature nod to Tina, what Tina does.
Who have you not brought to Adelaide, but you want to bring to Adelaide?
Oh my gosh. You know what? My eyes are now definitely on overseas artists. Do you remember Taylor Dayne?
Of course.
I would love, I've been in contact with her people over there. It's just so freaking expensive, the flights at the moment. Bringing in artists from overseas is like such a big gamble. But Taylor Dayne I would love to. Because I just thought her voice when I was growing up, or not so much even growing up, I mean she was 80s, no she was more so 90s I think. But
wasn't she late 80s?
Late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but her music was just great, and again those big female voices I'm just so attracted to. So I'd love someone like that. I'd like to start thinking of overseas artists as I go further. Can
you please bring Sade?
Isn't she awesome?
She's beyond awesome.
Oh my God. I actually saw a photo. Look at me, I just got all excited. That's not a hard thing.
Can you and also Simply Red? Can you bring as a double act? Because they both retired, as you know.
No.
What?
No.
What?
No.
Oh, now I'm getting excited.
I know. Simply Red. They have just brought out a brand new album.
No.
Yeah. It's freaking amazing.
Please bring them to Adelaide. Please,
I love Simply Red.
Please,
Mick
beg,
Hucknall
grovel.
is incredible. I'm sure he's going to do something because he's got the album out. He's going to have to do something. But Sade, speak about her for a second because I just saw a photo of her on social media just the other couple of weeks ago. She still looks amazing.
She really does. But can you bring them as a double act? Can you book out the Adelaide Oval and bring them as a double act? You will sell the whole stadium.
Imagine?
You'll have people coming from overseas, interstate. They'll even come from Tasmania.
You can give me ideas. I like this. I'm going to go straight to my notepad when we're finished and write down all these ideas.
If money was no object, if I won the lottery, you know that $100 million lottery that went off just recently? If I had won that, guess who would have been playing at my next birthday?
Sade.
And?
Simply Red.
You got it.
Yay.
Absolutely.
What about Grace Jones? Let's bring Grace Jones back because I adore her as well. I just kicked your computer.
How dare you?
I know.
See you in court.
Grace
Knight is incredible.
No, Grace Jones.
Oh, you said Grace Jones. Excuse me.
Knight's
Sorry.
amazing.
I like both of them.
Yeah.
I love both of them.
Let's hear it for Grace.
Grace.
Remember that song that Grace Jones did? Oh my! Slave to the Rhythm. Remember that?
Yeah, heck yeah.
And there's that line in it, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Grace.
Yes.
That just gave me chills.
Absolutely.
Every time that.
Oh, and U2. You have to bring U2.
I know they've been very quiet, haven't they?
They've been too quiet. They're not allowed to be that quiet.
What's going on there?
I don't know, but if anyone can get them to Adelaide, I think I know who.
You've got such high hopes for me.
Well, I'm selfish, okay? I'm greedy. I'm selfish. I want to be entertained.
Okay, you're putting me to task now.
Okay, I've made it about me. I didn't mean to. Who do you want to bring to Adelaide?
I would love. You know what? I tried to get Pet Shop Boys. I reached out to the Pet Shop Boys a couple of months, or probably a good 6 months ago. But Live Nation, unfortunately, are doing some kind of deal at the moment, so that was a no-go. But I love.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Can you bring them?
They've gone. Yeah, they're not happening, are they? Oh my goodness! I need to go to the bathroom. Has this ever happened to you before? You know how much water
to be
and coffee.
honest with you, this has never happened to me before.
How are we doing for time? How much time have we got?
We've got like 5 minutes.
Do you want to talk to them? Because I literally can't wait.
All right, I'm going to talk to this camera.
Okay.
You go off and do...
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll
This
be
is
back.
fun.
This is like a Schwarzenegger impression.
This is so
I'll
unique.
be back.
I love this.
Well, are we not entertained?
Oh, I think my microphone's still on.
There's my gladiator quote for the day. I met this amazing gentleman at the Regal Hotel. My wife and I had purchased tickets to see one of my favorite jazz performers ever, full stop. I was introduced to her music, Grace Knight I'm talking about. I was introduced to her music through an album called Come In Spinner. And you know, she and Vince Jones just blew my mind away. Absolutely next level stuff. Not much point in going to camera 2, is there? Marcus is off doing things.
I'm coming back.
He's coming back.
I'm coming back.
So
I
met Marcus at the Regal, and we just got to talking afterwards, and somehow he was silly enough to say, I will come on your podcast. Just out of curiosity, what convinced you to come on a podcast for somebody who is very new? I don't even have 10 podcasts yet. What convinced you to say yes?
You know what? I like talking. I like expressing. I like to share positive vibes and good joy. I think so. Whenever I've got an opportunity to, share kindness and, good feelings and, inspire. If I can inspire one person to have a beautiful day, I feel like I've done something okay. So whenever I get an opportunity to talk about, and we haven't really spoken about all my challenges in life. I've had my challenges and my hurdles and, lots of things. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? The other thing, David, is everyone's got a good story. Everyone's got a story.
Yes.
Some people aren't famous. Some people are extremely famous, but everyone's got a great story. But
tell me, we've only got like 3 minutes left.
Yep.
Tell me your greatest story. The one that's going to motivate, the one that's going to inspire, the one that's going to really get stuck in people's head over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Tell us your best story.
Oh my God, it goes pretty deep. I was abused physically and mentally in a particular relationship, and I was whittled down to pretty much nothing, and I had to climb back from that. That feeling of worthlessness and that you're not good enough and all that kind of stuff, and I had to try and find myself again, which I did living at my parents' house for about 7 months.
Parents are awesome, aren't
They're
they?
the best. And my parents, I just adore them, seriously. They're just absolute, like, legends. So that's my thing. So my thing is, you know, rising from nothingness and, you know, finding that self-belief and that self-strength, that self-awareness.
How did you do it?
Through a lot of, you know, quiet time.
Yes.
And personal reflection.
Yes.
And sitting tranquil. And, you know, trying to get rid of the clutter, the noise.
Yes.
So yeah, lots of, you know, I mean, use the word meditation. And again, meditation doesn't always mean sitting cross-legged on the floor going om. Meditation can be watering the plants. Meditation can be going for a run around the block, you know, for half an hour. I last usually about 20 minutes. But, you know, meditation, you know, which is that moment of just going into yourself where you take out all those other thoughts and you just become you in your own little space.
You mentioned the Bible earlier on, and I don't want to bring religion into this, but in the Bible, meditation is focusing on one thing. So, for example, it might be a verse, it might be a characteristic, it might be whatever it is, but it's focusing with all of your energy on one thing. Would you agree with that?
No, not necessarily. Because sometimes it could be focusing on nothing, you know. If you can be really, really good at it, you can empty your mind. You know, when you're driving in the car, and you just get so sometimes zenned out, and you get to your destination and be like, oh, I can't remember how I got here. You know, but so this subconscious takes over and makes sure that you're safe, obviously.
Of course.
I'm not saying that in a dangerous kind of way at all. But have you ever been like, oh my God, I don't even remember you know, you just zone out.
Yes.
And there's this kind of other thing that takes over to make sure that you're driving safely and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think so.
So my point is that, yes, I think meditation can be focusing on one thing, absolutely, but it can also be focusing on nothing at all, and then but also focusing on 5 things. You know, like if I using the going for a jog around the park, for example, obviously there's a part of you that doesn't want to step in dog poop, so you're focusing on that. You don't want to trip over a risen paver. You know, you don't want to hit a low hanging branch. So there's things you're focusing on, of course. More than one.
I could easily talk to you for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, but you've made it very clear that you have things that are planned for the rest of the evening. So I hate to say this, but I'm going to have to cut this short. Would you be willing to do another podcast sometime down the future?
I've had an absolute ball, David, and like seriously, I have got so many stories. Can I leave you with one thing?
Just one.
Live your life that when you are 90, if you've got the ability to get to 90, to be able to write a book and be able to absolutely fill it.
I love it.
If you get to that age and you've got nothing to write about, you haven't lived your life.
I agree 100%. Next week on the podcast, Sheridan Stewart, who is an amazing author. I have enough, I do enough, I am enough. She is a podcaster. She is incredible. She is a, Fox FM, Triple J, Triple M, ABC Radio. There's nothing this woman can't do. Next week on the podcast, you're going to get to meet her. Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking forward very much to seeing you next week right here on the David Wolverton Podcast.
Good evening and welcome to television.
That was fun.
May we say, God save the Queen. Because nothing will save the Governor General.
I like aeroplane jelly. Aeroplane jelly for me. Wiggle up the man from the Bill.
What?
You just tell them for me, don't you? Not to worry about it.
I'm living in the 70s, eating fake food under plastic trees. You better shape up, 'cause I need a man. And my heart
They call me Caramello.
Not happy, Jan!
On the largest network of stations across Australia, this is Countdown. It's going to be Australia too. They are going to win it. Stand up, Australia.
I tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum.
What does it take to make a grown man cry?
Marge, the rains are here.
Come on, Aussie, come on, come on.
Please explain.